My God, it is so cold. I don't know why I do this. I do this every year. Uh, it's December. It's really cold in Ireland, and yet I decide that I want to do a lot of woodworking, which means spending a lot of time at my workshop, where there's no heating or insulation, so it's incredibly cold. Um, yeah, I guess because I'm kind of cheap. I suppose I like to make people things for Christmas. It's also thoughtful, I suppose. So maybe I'm not cheap. I'm just thoughtful. Here we go. Anyway, I got a lathe, so I don't know how to use it. We're gonna make some things. I got some wood to try out. I got some hardwood. I got some softwood just to mess with, so I don't really care about too much. I've done a tiny bit of practice with this machine, literally a tiny bit. But yeah, we're gonna learn how to lathe things because I don't know how to wood turn. I have one little project we're gonna do with this, which is for kind of a batch of presents we're making. We're going to try and make these little honey drizzlers. So myself and my partner, she's going to be making fermented hot honey for people as presents for Christmas. I'm going to go the extra crafty mile then and try and mill or try and lathe little honey drizzlers to go with them as part of the present. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We're learning how to lathe. We're going to make honey drizzlers. So yeah, come and join me. Learn how to lathe. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're going to find out. So let's go.
So the first job really is just setting up your workpiece. You have to mark out the ends, get it nice and centered on both ends, and then install it into the lathe. Put it into the drive dog end, and then turn in the live center at the end as well, the opposite end. And yeah, that's kind of it for the setup. It's pretty simple. Again, this isn't really an instruction video because I don't know what I'm doing, but is mostly just showing you how I did it and what I learned doing it. For the rest of this video, I'm going to try not to talk too much. Broad strokes about what we do here is I take this piece of softwood that I was using, I think it was white deal. I make a first honey drizzler out of it, just as sort of a proof of concept, and then the rest of it is me trying to work with some hardwood to make the actual nice finished products. So yeah, I'm going to leave you here with some kind of nice wood turning ASMR. I'll jump in every now and then to say a few words, and yeah, if you stick around to the end, you'll see the final products I ended up making. Quick note on the tooling I'm using here. So I was researching what you should use, and it seems that there's two kind of classes of tools you can use. You can use the standard gouges, which are like the traditional chisels, the curved chisels that you see people using. And then there's also these carbide insert tools, which are the ones that I'm using here. I have no strong opinion on which you should use. I'm sure some people who are experts in this could tell me. But what I found was when I went looking online to buy a cheap beginner set, the cheapest beginner gouges I could find were starting at about €30 each, which would be sizable enough expense if I wanted to buy 3 or 4 different types of ones to experiment with. But I found this carbide insert set that had 4 tools in it for I think €50 overall. So I don't know if these tools are good or not, but they seem to do the job, and I got a feel for using them. So yeah, maybe there's some reason why I wouldn't use these or shouldn't use these, but it got me up and running and I managed to make cuts with it, so I'm pretty happy that I didn't spend a ton of money on them.
Okay, there we've got a little V1, and doesn't look too bad. So this is very, very soft wood. So you can see you have a bunch of little tear outs here and there, which I think is to be expected with this very soft wood. It's white deal, I think. And yeah, I don't think this is, it's probably not the final form of this either. I like this though. I think it's a good size. I'd like to get these little grooves a little deeper. But yeah, I kind of like the little tapered handle, and a little bobble end on it is quite nice. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna try and remake this, but in a hardwood for the next thing. So I hope that the hardwood won't tear out as easy. One thing I was experimenting with this from the few little test cuts I did the other day. I think the speed was too low, so I actually upped the speed for this, and the wood got a much better finish. You'll notice this looks a lot smoother than it did straight off the cutting tools. Sandpaper is, I think, is your friend when you're lathing stuff if you're not very good. But it's also super easy. You just hold a piece of paper on it and it does all the work for you. So you can get a quite nice finish. So this is a lovely smooth finish from a wood that is not meant for turning at all. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I got this blank. This is hardwood. I think this is oak. So I'm going to try and turn more of these out of this. I reckon I might make it a little smaller. Try to get 2 out of this blank. So I'll lop this blank in half, chuck it up, and yeah, see what we can get. So that's next. Let's see what we can do. Okay, some off-camera turning, and I got this first one made out of the oak blank. It's a good deal smaller than the test one, but it's much nicer. Much better finish off of it. Only got one tiny bit of tear out just here in the handle piece, but doesn't really matter. This bit where the slots are is much better. So yeah, that's an improvement. So yeah, from this little prototype to that guy, it's pretty good. I'm gonna lop this guy off on the bandsaw and do a little bit of hand sanding just to polish it up, and then I suppose that'll be my first one. I'm gonna try and make more. I cut down, that's the original block that it came from. I'm not super sure if this block is the right size. It can maybe do with being a little bit bigger. This Drizzler is maybe a little short, so I may not cut this guy in half to do the next one. I may leave it a bit longer. I could be a bit more room to play with, so I'll see. But I have some more wood. I have tons more wood. This is going to be good for turning blanks from. So yeah, let's try and make some more. I'm not sure. This wood might not even be the best for it. It's hardwood, but it doesn't mean that it's perfect for turning. So I may see from my pile of hardwood what I've got that might be better, or just as good or whatever. So yeah, gonna keep going, see what I can do. I got a load of these to make. I'm gonna just make a pile of them. So I'm gonna film them and make them, and hopefully we'll see them get better as I go. So yeah.
So here I've actually changed the wood I was using. So the previous blanks I was using of oak turned out not to be that great to turn. So this is some other hardwood that I found in my pile. Don't actually know what it is, but the main difference that I noticed between it and the oak is the grain structure. This one has a very tight, kind of close grain structure, whereas the oak was more open. And I think that's really what made the difference here for the turning quality. This turned super easily, made really nice chips, and it hardly bit in at all. So I think whether it's hardwood or softwood, I think the grain structure probably makes more of a difference than whether it's hard or soft. I'm not really sure if that does make a difference. This is hardwood anyway. And yeah, it turned out to be quite nice to turn. Another thing I noticed with the using the tools was that there's also sort of a direction in which you use the tool towards the way that the grain is more open or closed in that direction, if that makes sense. I didn't really get it at first. I'd heard it mentioned in a turning video, that the grain direction can matter, which didn't seem apparent to me. But then as I started to get some tear out in places while I was using the tool, I understood that the direction makes a difference. So it's kind of when you're leading into the grain, you can get catches, and if you're coming away from the grain, you're not likely to get catches that way. So yeah, anyway, this wood turned really nicely. Got a much nicer result out of this one than out of any of the other woods that I tried up to this point. So here we are. These are the final results. So as you can see, I ended up making a good few of these in the end. There would have been more, but I did break a few while I was making it. Fortunately, I didn't catch any of those on camera, but you can see the middle parts of the handles get quite thin, and if you get a catch at an unfortunate time, you can snap the whole thing, and that happened to me a few times while I was making these. So didn't get them on camera, but I thought it was worth pointing out that it wasn't all just rosy making all of these, and the final results are nice, but it was a bit of a journey getting there. So I'm not going to say that, I know how to wood turn now, that, I've finished it, I've completed lathing, but, I definitely have a little bit of a basis, and it's a skill that I want to keep going, and I want to refine and learn more and make more things, because I really enjoyed doing it. For me, it was personally a big win, because I was super nervous to start doing this. I was quite nervous to buy the tool. It's just, a little bit of an expense in the outlay to get it going, and I had no idea if I'd be good at it or if I'd even enjoy it. But yeah, I did enjoy it, and, I got some reasonable results out of it, so I'm pretty damn happy. So if you take anything from this, it's just try something, You never know if you're going to be good at it, and you might not be, but with a little bit of persistence and a lot of sandpaper, I think you can make a lot of nice things out of wood. So I'm going to leave it here for this video. As always, folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.